Videos 94, 95, and this one, 96, in the Keys of Magic series are a little bit different than some of the other videos in the series. I often give actionable practice in my lessons. However, in these 3 videos, I am going through the early novice development of a specific thread which I call hearing, specifically hearing and knowing yourself, although there is an inclusion of hearing environment as well, and of sensation, which is a tangible recognition of what to hear within your avatar, your body, and your environment. The volume of development and dedication I am presenting in these 3 videos is something that will take the practitioner days, weeks, and months, adding iterations and steps in a little at a time. So these few videos are ones you may wish to bookmark in some way and come back to several times as a methodical guidebook regarding this specific practice thread. Being aware of sensation is the ability to be aware of language and being and conditions. This awareness is not mental, but somatic, elemental, and based in the way your body communicates and responds to and within itself, as well as with its environment. Being familiar with sensation is essential for purification and neutrality, for development of powers, for knowledge, and for wielding. Please do not dismiss the importance of this opportunity to practice. In videos 94 and 95, before this one where we are at now, I gave some overall principles and suggested the setup of initial practice. This video will be a further list of points and practices that you can incorporate one at a time over time. Recall that hearing and sensation practice is going to be taking place 1. In a dedicated daily quiet session, probably while in your novice space. 2. In your village walks. 3. As you practice with your chosen art or arts. And 4thly, eventually there can be a habit of this hearing and sensation recognition whenever and wherever you are in the hours of your life. Let's begin. 1. During your times of stillness, during your daily quiet session, you may use your hand to touch at various points at your body. Keep in mind that your hand is a magician's hand. The hand is an emphasis of power for a magician. Use the hand to hear. The initial sensation will, of course, be the skin contact, but also see if the touch can help you train your awareness to any internal sensation for both the hand and the location being touched. Don't force or imagine anything for all of these exercises. It's okay if the sensation is nothing, emptiness. As you continue with this type of exercise, you may also invite your hand to resonate with or take on the sensation that is at the body location you are hearing or touching. Even later on, you can invite your hand to match sensation of a body location even when not directly touching, allowing an internal communication. And even later on, when the hand is touching, and especially if the sensation is perhaps not a comfortable one, you can invite your hand to be at peace, and then make the invitation to the body location, the specific body sensation, to resonate with the hand, to also come to peace. So practicing a simple sensation shift with the assistance of the hand. Even later, and these are all iterations you can practice, you can ask your entire body to come to well-being and peace. And I'm going to talk more about well-being in my next video as well, so you can put that more together at that time. And then invite that whole body well-being to concentrate in the hand without leaving the rest of the body. And then you can go about your home or your space and gently touch the other beings there. And anything that is there is being: plants, furniture, walls, and transfer the peace to them. By invitation and consent, say, "May I?" and then touch and transfer. You may also use the hand to hear other beings practicing in your home. Again, ask if you can touch, and then touch and see if you can recognize and perhaps resonate with the sensation of the individual beings around you. Homework 2. Sensation is actually not the signals that one can intake from the 5 senses. Those can be important in magic as well, but that's not what we're practicing here. You can play with sense intake and sensation. It's sometimes a fine line, and the senses can help guide you to sensation. But sight, for example, is not a sensation. However, have you ever tried to tune in to the sensation of sight? The sensation within your eyes and within your brain as you see. As you are hearing sound, maybe some music, there is also a sensation of hearing, and perhaps particular to what you are listening to. Let me tell a small story. I did transcription work for a while in my life, and this relies on listening to recordings all day long. At the end of the day, my ears were exhausted. I found out, or had emphasized to me, that hearing sound through the ears is a physical activity, and my ears were physically tired. So let's say I heard a voice say, "a brown cow." Understanding the sound waves and the tone and my brain's decoding of the language is one thing. The sensation within my ears, and at that time included exhaustion, is a different recognition. Humans have ears for a specific kind of signal intake, but honestly, ears are not required for hearing. I don't know if you've seen those social media short videos where humans ask trees. They say, "If you can hear me, touch my shoulder." And the tree touches the human's shoulder with their branch. So the tree heard without ears. Humans can do this kind of hearing too. I don't know what sensation is like for a tree, but it's obvious we can hear one another regardless of sense intake. We just have to practice getting used to that habit again, hearing if there's going to be a storm or if it's going to pass by, hearing if someone needs us. And for myself, I wouldn't use the term telepathy. That's a specific skill and art that I haven't brought up and may never. I'm simply asking you to widen and deepen your awareness of what is around you to hear, starting with yourself, and letting you know that your body generates and resonates with and by sensation. 3. A reminder that your sensation notation is not done with your mind or thoughts. This noticing is done with the body. And by the way, your body has always been noting, resonating with, and generating sensation. Your body does hear and speak, always. What is new is that you are renewing your habit of being aware of that subtlety that turns out not to be so subtle. If you find yourself noting with the mind, it's okay, it's a good starting point. But practice dropping into body locations and eventually into generalized, diffused multi-awareness. Also realize that you are not coming to conclusion or arriving at certitude regarding sensation. Rather be open Be curious, be in flow, be a witness. 4. During your stillness sessions, bring your awareness to the energy centers of the body that we call chakras. I won't say much about chakras at this point, other than it being another opportunity you can learn yourself at these places. And this is regardless of whether or not you, quote unquote, believe in chakras. These are still essential nodes in your body based on the nervous system and organs. You may check in at the base of your torso, the root, within the lower pan of the pelvis with the sacral center, under the lungs at the diaphragm above the stomach for the solar plexus, at your heart, the fourth chakra, at your throat, and here's another good place to differentiate between speaking or generating any sound and the sensation of that speaking. Moving on to the center of the forehead, but deep inside, not at the skin surface. And finally, the crown chakra at the top of the head. 5. So far in this Keys of Magic series, I have introduced you to the hand, the voice, and the eye as 3 major powers the magician develops. So feel free to cultivate sensation awareness at these body places. Also to invite these powers to simple shifts, particularly to well-being. In other words, instead of only noting sensation in these 3 places as they do their habits, rather begin with invitation to and generation of a specific sensation, and then see what new habits may arise based on that sensation. As well, as you cultivate your standing stance and walking stance being a power of a magician, include a recognition of sensation that goes along with that stance. Homework 6. Here I now list a few other places, times, and ways to become more aware of the internal sensation of your avatar. Check in with your body organs. Maybe even look up some online if you don't know all the organs and glands and systems of your body or the vocabulary for them. Take a slow tour over weeks and say hi to everything. When you are eating and drinking and ingesting anything, or afterwards, check in for sensation, not only at the digestive system, but anywhere that comes up. Whenever you do your formal magic greeting, whenever you say any of the spells, and when you draw or ponder any of the sigils I have given you over the course of the series. Stand in the center of your novice space and take in the appearance or appearances that are there, and note any sensation. What is the sensation of being in your personal space? And this is also practice for awareness of multi-sensation, of everything in the particular environment coming toward you or being with you. And at the place where you go to meet your mother, the mother of magic, what are the sensations within you then? What is the sensation of the mother? Homework 7. The iterations that I have outlined for you thus far have been done in a state of stillness. But if you recall in video 94, the daily session is actually phasing between stillness and dance. Even if you are able to be still for a long time, then phase into dance and back and forth, simply as it comes to you. And now I would like you to practice as many of the iterations of recognizing sensation as you can, not only when still, but when in the dance phase. At first you can note the general sensation of your whole body, but later while dancing, you can check in with your heart, with your hands, with anything you can hear, both internally and perhaps what might be speaking in the surrounding environment. As a magician, when you wield, it would be nice to always wield from an initial position of stillness, but that's not always reality. We wield on the move, and that begins with sensation recognition in whatever speed you are at. In fact, I hope that over time you begin to recognize the stillness that is in the dance. And even more sweet is the dance that is in the stillness. 8. Take your dance out to your village. You may have been practicing stillness, stance, walking in the village, and observing in that way. Now go and dance in your village. I realize this may be a shy thing, and I am not asking you to perform, unless that does sound fun to you, the magician dancing through the village. But go out and dance and see what changes that induces in your village. I mean, they may even start dancing with you, yeah? However, my ask here is not for others to see you, necessarily. You can dance surreptitiously. Put a little jig and slide in your step. You can dance slowly, with, arm movements and such. Again, after a few times of dancing in the village, put that together with observation, hearing, and sensation noticing, internally with yourself and from other beings as you are dancing about the village. Homework 9. Eventually, when you are more practiced with hearing your body, you may wish to ask a question of your body, or simply listen enough to understand the truth of what's already there. But as you are hearing or being with sensation, perhaps a specific sensation, try to hear if your body would like the continuation of the sensation or the discontinuation of the sensation. Is it a sensation sought? Is it a sensation avoided? Which doesn't mean one or the other is better. Try not to move into commentary from your mind, but rather stay a neutral witness of what your body or that body area actually would prefer for itself. And keep in mind that your body may not all agree with itself. You may get a multiplicity of answers. Now, I'm not giving the assignment of continuing or discontinuing the sensation. That may be a healing journey. So simply just hear that. We are preparing for wielding in the sensation progressions I'm outlining. This is not a healing journey per se. And as we are purifying is also not for the purpose of healing. But it may uncover some stuff or provide awareness for stuff that you could choose to find a healing path for. Finally, and we'll call this homework 10, just another emphasis for noticing sensation as you learn and experience your chosen art. There is no sensation that has to do with your art that you want to be unfamiliar with, yeah? Maybe even make a little written list of what sensations may have to do with your art and with specific wieldings within your art, and gradually be open to hearing and experiencing each one of them. Also, in your stillness, and maybe even in your dance, invite the master of your art to teach you. Ask your master what sensations the master wants to share with you or direct you to know. And also be open to becoming with the sensation of the master itself. If you open to that in quiet times and open to it in dance times, then as you become familiar, you will recognize if the master taps you on the shoulder, so to speak, at any time with some teaching or some bidding. And recall that as a novice, you are receiving bidding, not giving it. And again, this openness and this type of practice is part of you learning the language of the art. And P.S., you can also learn to recognize the whisper of the mother so that you can hear that when it whispers to you anytime. I want to share one more note, and that is that being present to sensation is being present. This attention will have the effect of purifying you from past and future, because commentary and interpretation spin past and future, among other things. But sensation is always right now. In the next video, I'm going to talk more about release, neutrality, purification, but it will be at a level that will assume that you have at least begun your sensation practice. As well, any time in the future that I take up the thread of sensation again and advance us in that practice, it will be on the assumption that you have delved into the explorations that I've outlined in these 3 series videos, 94, 95, and 96. All right, I will come again soon to you with more magic. See you then.